Today I am going to discuss on one of open source library that is known as Jackson. So Jackson is the open source library, and that's help us work with JSON. Whenever we are working in a Java application, sometime our application can need to read JSON file, or maybe a request and response also exchanging data in the form of JSON. We are going to talk basic about the JSON, and also we are going to discuss how in a Java, whatever the object we have, we are going to work with the JSON. Everything related to the Java and JSON, and this is a library. Jackson is the library which are the popular, you can say, the library in a Java community for working in the JSON. Okay, so let's talk a little bit on this Java JSON library. Okay. So first, before going to jump on the library, let's talk basic about the JSON. What is the JSON means? So JSON is the JavaScript object notation. Okay, it is the lightweight data interchange format. That means whenever we have a service one or microservice, another microservice, and they want to exchange data, okay, from service A to service B. Okay, service A, microservice A, service B. So what the format they are using to exchange data nowadays is mostly API or the microservices are exchanging data between the services is the form of the JSON. So JSON is the lightweight data interchange format. That means whatever the information a data service want to send here, we can use the JSON, and it is very easy for human to read and write. This is the very best part in the JSON. It is a very simple. Anyone can read or write, and even easy for the machine. We are using Java language to develop application. So Java community have a some set of open source library that help us very easily. We can read the JSON file, write the JSON file, convert the JSON file, parse the JSON file. So lots of operations that's required when you are exchanging data between the services. So you can say JSON is the data format that very lightweight, and that can be used in the different programming language. Maybe this applications you are using the Java, this application using the Python, another application is using .NET. So different language driven application want to communicate, then the JSON is the one of the most popularly commonly used data format between the services for the communication purpose. Okay, so JSON is the very common use data format where the different kind of services are sending or exchanging data in the form of JSON. So what the example of what the look like JSON would be? So if you look here, so JSON is the kind of very simple notations like open and close bracket, and here you can put whatever the information you want to send in the form of key and value. Okay, so key should be name, like key is the name, and what the value of name. Row key would be role, what the value would be. Maybe key the skills, what the value. So here key would be your any kind of maybe string, float, double, and similarly value can be any types, maybe string, float, double. Maybe value can be single value, or maybe value one, maybe value two, value multiple value can be for one key, right now. So in this notation, those are array notation. This is the RA notation. Like here, skill. A skill can have a person, maybe Java language, Spring Boot language, MySQL. So engineer can have multiple skills. So sometime our like a skill is the key and value can be the multiple. So both in a JSON, very simplified way you can say, you can store whatever the information you want to exchange in the form of a key and value. Value can be single value or value can be multiple value. Both JSON support. Multiple value, you can say it's the array of value. This is the single value, you can say. And the notation is very simple in the just double quote, and between the key and value is the colon is a segregation point between the key and value. Okay, key and value look like, if you talk about the Java language, we have a map have a key and the value can be one value, two value, single value, any kind of value. Similarly, JSON is also key value data format. Okay, so they hold your key name as well as the value name. A value can be single value or value can be multiple value. Even this is the maybe this is the one employee detail. Similarly, you can employee detail one, employee detail two, comma separated. You can make the multiple value. Okay, so JSON representation of data, maybe your request data is a simple, that's also fit in the form of JSON. If your API response the complex data, that also we can represent in the string format. So it's sorry, JSON is capable to represent your simple data object or maybe complex data object, very simplified way. Okay. So this is a simple examples where we can understand the JSON data. Here can be, this is the one maybe employee detail, employee name John, role and skill. Similarly, can have another employee, can have another employee, can have another employee. Many employee can have. So this is the one data similar, and you can just club as a array of the employees. We're going to talk work with the one object, work with the many objects. So let's talk the now. Let's jump. Now we know JSON is the commonly used data format that's used the communication, exchanging information between the services. That's we use the JSON. So whenever you are going to use JSON, this is the uh, challenges for the developer. Every developer can be go and understand how we can read the JSON, how can format the JSON, how can write the JSON, and these are the different programming language, different services engineers are developing. So we have instead of every engineer developer going to write all these codes, than the concept of the library. Library already, these are the very common things, and every programming language, every applications are need to exchange data. These are the common format between the service communication. So due to that, open source community have a expose the library so that anyone don't worry, just use this library and you can fulfill all the operation like which we are going to talk. So the popular library that's work with JSON in the Java community, Jackson, which today we are going to talk, this most widely used library, and not this is the only one. Lots of library lists here available. I'm not going to talk all this, but at least you should aware one, and once you aware with the one library, similar functionality can be offered by the other library as well. As maybe talk about the Google is a JSON kind of library. Maybe org.json also is a very built in for a small application. Okay, so what library, or you can say jars, or a dependency, you can say for in Java based applications, huge list available. But today we are going to discuss about the one Jackson is the dependency or the Java library that's available for JSON related operations in the Java. Okay, so let's talk basic about what is Jackson. Okay, now we are going to jump to the decided. We are going to the Jackson is most widely used Java library for the JSON operations. So let's talk basic about the JSON operation. So Jackson is a powerful and widely used open source Java library that's work with the JSON data. So whatever we have a JSON data, we have a JSON data, you have a key and value. These are the JSON data we have. So now these library help us. We can very simplified way to read any JSON. This is the JSON file to the Java object. So really that our applications, what are the application we are working, that application work in the Java object. Java object have a method, attribute, function, because Java is the object oriented programming language. So generally this file, whatever the JSON file, JSON, this is the JSON file can be you read as a string. So this is very hard to work as a string. If we as a in a Java developer, in a Java program, we are using the object, so talking object, extending the data in the form of object. So how is this library help us read the JSON file and convert to the Java object in a very simplified way? Maybe sometime we have a, let us some Java object, we have a object 1, we have a object 2. Now I want to send this object to the different microservice. Okay, so here we cannot pass the Java object. The Java object is not capable to pass on the internet so that they can read by the different microservice. So we have to pass the standard format like a JSON. So whatever the Java object we have to first convert to the JSON file, JSON content, so that this JSON can be easily transferred over the internet, and so that the other microservice can understand, get JSON data. So sometime you need to write Java object into the JSON as well. So this Jackson library help us to first read the JSON file and convert to the Java object, because Java is working on a object-oriented programming language. Sometime we have to Java object. Now again I want to convert to again JSON file. Sometime you want to send the JSON data, right? JSON data. So for those also, so read JSON and even a write JSON. Both kind of operation we can simplify get from the this JSON library. Apart from that, sometime we are read get some JSON file from particular library, particular response. Sometime I am not aware what would be the corresponding Java object for that. So without specifying any specific Java class, hey, I want to convert this JSON file to the specific Java class. Okay, but sometimes we many times we're not aware the exact data structures for that, and even I don't want to create the new data structure for the a small purpose. So this library also offer a facility where we can parse our existing JSON dynamically, means without predefine any classes. We'll talk for that. JSON library provide the inbuilt dynamic utility, which you're going to talk. That's help us to easily whatever the JSON you can easily get the specific value, text, object. Even you want to convert something, everything you can do. Okay, and so reading the JSON filing, writing Java object to the JSON file, and parsing your JSON file, and sometime we require a conversion. Maybe we have a JSON and a Java. Sometime you want to convert JSON to the Java. Okay, sometime you convert to the Java to the JSON. All these conversion maybe sometime a list of map collections of the object we have. So for those these library also offer a simplified way and generic way where we can perform these operations. So lots of theory happen. Let's took in the demo kind of things so that I can write some code, sample data, so that you feel comfortable. Okay, so before starting the demo part, let's understand the core component of the JAX. So in this session, I'll going to talk these three more bullet points. Okay, first about the core component, where the basic role objection to the reading JSON file and writing to JSON. So how? So this is the one of the basics object offered by the JSON library, object mapper. This mapper object or instance provide me lots of method, read value, write value. Those are operations we are going to look in a demo. Okay, and similarly, sometime you want to parse your JSON without any Java class. So for those, this is the Jackson. Again, one object node, JSON node that help us. We can parse any JSON without need any pre-defined Java classes for that. So we are going to little bit one example here, and last we are going to talk whenever we have a Java object, and I'm going to converting to the this is Java object, and I'm going to convert it to JSON file. At that time, what the field, what the attribute. So sometime you want to control some field name, attribute name, some field name you want, some field name you don't want. So those kind of scenario, Jackson library support, annotation support. Maybe we're going to talk a little bit like JSON property, JSON ignore property, JSON include, JSON type, JSON. So annotation is the list is also so huge. So surely I'm not going to talk each and every annotation, but basic sometime in your whenever you look your code, if you are working in any existing application, these annotations maybe you saw in your code base. Okay, so these are the core concept of the as a component in the Jackson object mapper, the main class that offer all the read and write operation, JSON, Java, everything. And for the if you have not any predefined Java object, still you want to parse the JSON, then the JSON node, and last we are going to took little bit some annotation part of it. Okay, so this is the part. So let's jump for our the demo part. How we are going to work with the JSON. The first things in your application you need like this library, Jackson library. So how you get the library? So the basics more the Jackson library want, you can just search the Jackson. This is the data binding kind of library. Just Google the MBN. Here I am using the Maven project. You can just search here and you find the latest whatever the versions available, and you can use. So notice the latest Jackson data binding. If you search here, the latest 220, but this is the RC release, and this is the 219 and 290 dot two is the latest one. So this is the version. Whatever the versions, when you are the working, you can select accordingly. So first, in our applications, we have to add this one dependency. What is the dependency? This one dependency. Well, I am in a my case I am using simply one Maven based project. This Maven based project, and we have just remove this everything. uh, Delete with what happened? Rename this and the delete. Maybe some. Okay, what nothing problem. Let me open the project in Explorer and open in Finder, and just this is my, so this is some JSON file. I just okay. Okay, so now generally in any mobile project we have a one source repository and one is your POM file. So in this POM you are going to add the dependency. So in the POM we have a dependencies. In this dependency you are going to add one more dependencies. Just you add this dependency and just reload so that they can download it. Okay. So this is the one first we have to add this dependency. This dependency say all the the function or classes or methods that require to read write JSON file this Jackson library as well. The one things first we have to add this library a dependency in your Maven project, or if you are using the Gradle project, you can get from the Gradle library. So here you are, if you want to maybe Gradle, if you are using the Gradle, you can download this dependency or SBT, lots of dependency this Maven repository has, but generally majorly application nowadays using the Maven or Gradle, so anyone both have a find Gradle dependency. So once this is only one dependency where you are going to add in your form.xml file. So I added this dependency in my form.xml file. One things I've done. Okay, and after that, so let's we have a, so what's the things we are going to do? Okay, so let's check my application is running. Let's run a simple hello world application is working. Okay, so notice first once you add your project dependency, so the core component of Jackson is your object mapper. So you are going to create the object mapper instance. So first things, let's create the object mapper instance. So here I am going to say, hey, you can say object mapper. So first things you have to create the mapper. Okay, so this help us to, okay, so we have to create the mapper. So this is the core component, and was good part. If you notice, this is the simple kind of a class provided by this Jackson library. So this is the class already provided by the Jackson library. So this is a good part. This is simple class, and you can create the object of this simple using this new and up. Now done. Now this class have offer a list of function to read and write. Okay, so next things, whenever you are going to work on this library, this is sufficient. Now you have created the mapper object. So now you want, let's say in a Java application, you have a Java object. I want to convert to the JSON. This is simply object. So first, let's define one any Java object. Okay, so you can create any Java class or record. Okay, so let us I create simply one. You can say I simply created one kind of your uh, class. Here you can create any user class, or you can create any class or record, because we are using the latest Java 17, so record is supported, so we are using. So but here is the one users that have a name, that have a roles, and what the skills they have. So we can just create it. Here you can create a class. I just created a record because nowadays the latest version supported. Okay, so now let's create some object and okay, so next once you are created the class like a record, let's create one simple Java object. So here I can go create one simple word. So I created one users, just here mention user name, roles, and the list of his skills. So now we have a one object. So now our responsibility, now this is the Java object. Now I want to convert this Java object to the JSON. First thing, just you want to JSON file. So if notice this is the Java object, I want to create one JSON file for this Java object. So again, we are going to here take the help of your Java mapper. Simple. This is the So this is a simple methods which Java API offer. Okay. So let's throws exception. Okay. So they have a so let's a simple write this. Okay. So this mapper have a one method write value. So this is my user object. Now I am going to write in a particular file. So here mention, hey, file name would be the user.json. So this Java object going to converted by this mapper and return to the JSON file. So here, so we have here we have a one. This is the Java object. This is our Java object. Java object. Now I want to save in the JSON file. JSON file. File name I mentioned the user.json. So how we can do simply, this is already we have a mapper available, object mapper. That right value mentioned this is the file name, and this is the Java object I want to write. So this is the Java object you mentioned. This Java object internally written by this Jackson library in the JSON. Very simplified, very simple. There is nothing you have to do. Just create the your object of the Java mapper and say write value. And once you run this code, this Java object going converted to the JSON object. Let's run. Notice here, if I run this code, one file JSON file would be created here. Okay. Let's I run this code. Okay. So notice this is the one JSON file created. So this is JSON file created in the one string representation. But I want to formatted JSON, look like which we saw in the open curly braces, right? The by default they are write our Java user object into the JSON file. Done. This is nice. But instead of that, maybe you want JSON would be formatted JSON. So instead of that, you can say, hey, dot pretty printer. So you can say, hey, mapper, this mapper class also given a wrapper. Hey, you want to write this object, but not the plain, just the very formatted pattern. If you run it here, run this, and now you can look this file. Now this is the format. Okay. So we have an option now. Our user.json is created by the Jackson library in a proper format. So sometime if you want to write our Java object into the JSON as a formatted, then this library Jackson library help us to use the pretty printer are directly cut. So what till now we have a Java object. You can convert to the JSON just using the method write value. Write value is given by your Jackson library. If you just click here, go to the definition, go to the implementation, you come here, notice this is the Jackson data bind library. This Jackson data bind library done everything for you. Just you pass the username and tell which file you want to write, and they are done. Very simplified way. Java object, mapper say write value, tell the file name, and tell the Java object it's done. Okay, so that's nice. So in this way, we are able to write Java object into the JSON file. Very simple logic. Just use the write value is the Jackson method. Let's next. So sometime I want to read this JSON file. Now don't want to write. Now I want to read this file. So how can I say? We are going to read. So here, so let us. For this again, mapper class have been given a concept like a okay, mapper have a function like a read value function. The read value function say tell me the file name, which file you want to read, and tell me which kind of object you want to make. So I JSON library tell read value is a function saying give, let's say this is the JSON file. This is the JSON file. JSON file. So you tell me that hey, read value say I need one JSON file. In this case, our user .json file. So there you mention the file. Okay. Second, they want to read, and after the read, you want to they convert to the Java object as well. Both time. So you say I want to Java object. So which kind of Java object you want? You can say, hey, I want to already you have a user record available, user class available. So I can say, hey, I need this. So this read value say read the file and create the Java object. The two work they are doing simultaneously. Read value, reading the JSON file, and also converting all the JSON content into the Java object. So what kind of Java object? User Java. Here you can mention I did this. So here you can pass this two object. One your file, JSON file, and the Java object. This read object. Now this is the user object. Now you receive the user object from the JSON file. And if you run here, so notice we read the Java object from this JSON file. So notice this is my JSON file. This is the JSON file. Now this JSON file, our Gson library help us to read and make the Java file. Now Java file name, role, and everything is available. So this read value give us a very simplified API where you can pass the JSON file and the Java object which you want to convert. They are converted and returned. Okay, so this is a very simply reading Java object from the JSON file. We have to the read value. Okay, so sometime I want to read the value. Okay, so sometime I want to not write the value into the JSON file. I want to just one string. So whenever we have a Java object, I want to convert the JSON string. I don't want to write in the file sometime. Okay, so those we have to another API given by the okay. So now we have a one Java object. This is the Java object we have. This is the Java object we have. Now I want this not the object representation. I want to string representation. So here we use the function read value. Read value say give me the file name and the Java class which you want to make object. Here say okay, whatever the Java object we have, I can give you the string notation of the JSON. Okay, and if you run, you are getting the string notation of the JSON. This is the Java notation, Java object. This is the string object of the complete JSON. So we have a Java object, and sometime you want to string representation of the JSON. So this is the string representation of Java object in the format of the JSON file. So which function you are going to use? Write value as a string. Here, notice here, write value here. If just a write value, they are going to write in the particular file. I can say no, don't write in the file. We have a Java object already. We have a Java object. I want to write value as a string. Give me that as a string. They are not going to write anywhere, but instead they just return the one JSON string for us. Sometime we need the just JSON representation of my Java object. So this is the write value as a string. If you say write value, just going to write in a particular file. Write value as a string, they convert your Java object to string representation and return the string form of the JSON. Okay, great. So sometime you want to just formatted JSON you want. Okay, now you want to this string representation, but I want to print the formatted, not just a string. So for those again, we have a before be, okay, before going to say write value, you say, hey, I want to pretty printer. So now same write value as a string, pass the Java object, they convert JSON string representation, but now the formatted format, very readable format. Okay, you can see here. So now notice this is the string representation of my Java object users, and this is a string representation but the formatted value. Here notice this is the formatted kind of a JSON. So that make a clear readability. Sometime you want your JSON should be readable format, so you can use the Java mapper uh, pretty printer method. So write with the default pretty printer and just say, hey, write value as a string and pass the Java object, and they give you the very formatted JSON. Good. So let's move to the next. And sometime this is the one part. Till now we have look, we have a Java object. We can convert JSON, and JSON can be write in the file, or JSON can be converted to the string. JSON can be converted to the format. So till now we have a Java object, and we are able to convert. Okay, so till now we have a one Java object, Java object. Okay, Java object, Java object, and now we can convert it three different way. JSON, JSON in file, or JSON in a string object, or JSON in a formatted string. So here we can convert. We have a Java object. We can convert write into the file, or you can say string representation, or formatted string. So till now, once we have a Java object, you can easily convert it into the JSON. JSON. Okay, JSON. JSON may be in a file, JSON may be in a string object, or maybe formatted string. This is the three format till now. So now let's reverse. Now we have a one simple, we have a one string JSON. Now I want to convert to the Java object. So till now we have learned Java object can be converted to the JSON. Maybe in the file, maybe in the string, maybe in the formatted string. So for converting the file, we can say write value, mention the file name. Converted to the string, write value as a string. You can convert it to the string repository. You can say formatted to just apply the formatted printer so that they can return the formatted string representation of the JSON. It's clear. So let's move to the reverse. Now we have a string, we have a one string representation like a, and now I want to from we have a one string, that string is the JSON string key value. Now I want to convert Java object. This is also very simplified way. Okay, so let's first let's create one JSON. So let us just we are created simple one JSON. So we have a like a string, like this is the one string. Okay, and now name maybe Smith. Okay, any name you can say, and maybe developer or UI designer. Okay, UI developer. Okay. So here a skill maybe UI Spring Boot anything. Okay. So now this is a string. I want Java object. So this string, or maybe you can receive from the API or some database call or any microservice you call, they return the string notation of the JSON. Generally, whenever you are calling any third-party API or library, the response you receive in the format of string. That is string JSON notation. This is the simple string, but this string is the JSON string because they have a key value, key value, key value. So we are going to perform operation our Java application. So I want to convert this in a Java. Okay. So for converting Java, we have a couple of operations. Okay. So let's first I want to read the some values. Okay. I want to read some value. So here we have a this JSON report. I pass them, and then we are going to map read tree. So now here we have a not any kind of object available, no class here. Just I want to object JSON object. So here is the JSON node is the object return. So now every value, key value we can get. Now at least here if we have a string, we have very hard to get the name, get the role, get the skill. Right now, this is very hard for us. Okay, so for those doing string manipulation, string operations, let's do convert to the object. Now we here this object is not our we define object. This object JSON node is given by the Gson library itself. You can say just read tree because the here consider as a one hierarchical object. Just pass your string representation and they return the object. Now from this object you can get a specific name, specific role. Now notice, run it and check. So here you can say this is a complete, you read the string node object, and here you can want to only the name. You can say hey node dot get name, they return the name as a Smith. Get the role, get the role. Similarly you can print other the whatever the operations you want, maybe a skill. Okay, so yeah, skills. This is the skills. Okay, so yes, skills you can. Okay, you can get the skills. So this is the way you can get. So this is the one part. Now you have a string. Use the mapper dot read tree. Now we have an object. From this object, a specific key, you can get the value. Key, get the value. Key, get the value. Key, get the value. Whatever you want to operation want. Simply a simplified version. You can also use this. Okay. So every operation you can get the value. Now key name this, key name this, key name this, key name this. That's nice. So now you are able to easily convert a string JSON representation to the JSON object. And now JSON object have a function get, pass the key and get the value. Okay. So now sometime you want to convert complete this to the Java object, a specific object to which you want, not the generic. Notice this object is the generic Jackson object because Jackson is defined for not just your application. Generic, anyone can. So the sometime you don't Jackson not define a specific class or object you want. You want some specific, no, this is the string representation. I want a specific kind of a object. Then you can say, hey, I want to convert the user object. Okay, I want to convert the user object. Okay, so here I pass this node. Hey, this is the node. I want this user class. So now you have a user class, and now you can get the user object. So now this object converted from your this node to the Java object, which your user object or employee object or department object, whatever the object you have. Okay, so simply run. Now you're getting the complete the Java object. Here your string representation, string format. Now here is the Java object. So notice we have this string, JSON string. Now you can convert Jackson object like node. This node have a get key value. From this node, even you can convert the specific your application object. Say I want to read value to the specific class of the object you want, user. You can say user.class and you can get the value. Right? So even complete again you want to convert back again. So now we have a Java object. Again, you want to convert to the string representation. So again, just write as a string value and you can get as a string representation. So here now Java object you can again convert to the string. The same string you can get again. Now this is the complete string representation. Right? So here write value as a string, they return the, even you want to again convert back to the Java object to string. So again here you want a string representation. Directly you want to convert to the Java object. You can say read value, mention the string representation and Java object. Even you can directly you can get. Okay. So even sometime you have your user class, you can mention the read value user class. Sometime you don't have a class, then you can use the read tree. Read tree just take an input and return the Java object. Even this string directly you pass to the here JSON representation. Okay, directly from this string you can convert, say read value. This is my JSON representation, and our Jackson library convert to the user object, and you can get the user object as well as directly. Okay, you can get the user object. Okay, so here the concept, you have a Java object, you can convert Java object to the string object, again string object you can convert to the Java object. So all the possible conversion you can do. Till now what we did, we have a string. This is the string JSON. Generally in your application always receive the JSON in the form of a string from the API call. Whenever you're calling in third-party API, they return the JSON string. So from this JSON string, see the JSON string. From here, you can convert to the object. So if JSON is the by default object given the node JSON node, this is they converted the JSON node. From this JSON node, we have a node from get key, and you get the value. If you want generic object, just use the read tree. So we have a JSON tree. Apply the read tree of the object mapper and pass the here our JSON string and you get the object. From this object, this is the object look like a key value. This object looks like a key and value. Notice the JSON is the key value. So here every key value you can just pass the key name, get the value. Key name, get the value. One. Second time, no. I want this object can be converted to the specific my user object. So here say, hey, this is the string representation. I want to convert the Java object. Here, my object, not the generic object. This is the my class. You can say this is my user.class. So Jackson library say, okay, Jackson library. So hey, this is the string representation, and you want to convert in your class. Then you mention your class name. Now they cannot convert it to this. So from this string representation of JSON can be converted to the generic JSON object known as a JSON node. From this node, you can get every value. And even from this JSON directly, you can say, hey, I want to create the specific my user class object. You can write the user class, and here you can get the complete the Java object. Even if you have a node, from this node also you can convert it to the, from this node also you can convert it to the user object. Okay, so from user object you can convert it directly from the user object here, or directly you can convert it from the here. The from string you can directly convert it to the your user object, or convert it to the first node object, then from node you can convert it to the user object. Both paths you have. So be clear here, Jackson library offer, if you receive any JSON that is string representation, that always you receive. Whenever you receive any JSON, always receive in a string format. So from string format, you can say, just say read value and mention your class name, and they are converted. Sometimes you don't have it, sometimes you don't have your class name, then you can use the dynamic parsing. You can say, hey, read tree, mapper.read tree mention, and now you can get the generic JSON node. From this node, whatever the key you want, you can get. Hope it's clear. Okay. Let's move to the next. So till now, whatever we did for the single object. Okay. So first part we done. First part till now we cover. We have a only one my user. Okay, user Java object. Okay, and this we can convert it to the JSON file, or JSON string, or JSON formatted string. Okay, so these are the things. One thing, second, we have a string JSON string, and then we can convert it to the uh, object. Generic object may be JSON node, or your own defined class, my class like a user class. So you can convert. So from here, generic, you can say read tree method, or read value, you can directly mention a class name. So till now, we have a one Java user object. You can convert to the JSON, maybe in the file, maybe in the string, maybe formatted string. Now we have a one JSON string representation, or file representation. Again, you can convert to the Java object, or we have if you have not defined any Java own class, then you can create the generic map kind of a JSON node, from where you can get the every key and value. Right? So now let's work on the collections. In the real application, you cannot just receive only one Java object. That is the group of collections of the object. So let's how this collections work. This same API, like major function we need here, read value and write value. These are the read value and write value. For generic, you can say read tree. These are the API we have used. So let's not just only one user. We have collections of user. So for example, we have a users list, maybe list of multiple users. Now we have a list of users. Now maybe this is from database. Let's you call the database, and you get the list of users. Now you are a service provider. You want to respond to the third party. All this object, not the Java object, but the string representation. So how this JSON library help us whenever you are a group of objects, not the only one object. Same API offer you can do for the group of objects. Okay, so let's do. Let's first we have a want to JSON file. Okay, so same API. Just I want to convert in the JSON file. So you can say, hey, this is my list of users. Same value. Notice the same write value. Write value here used for the writing the one object. Same write value here used for the list of users. So you can say write value is the mapper class is the generic. You can pass one object, or you can pass the list of object. They are right. Here I want the file should be written in the formatted pattern, then you can see the pretty printer. And if you run this users.json will be made. Here, notice users.json made. So now notice we have a list of this is the user 1, user 2. Notice here this is the user 1, user 2, user 3, user 4, and this is the array because here is the array kind of. Here formatted data you can get. So how to do? Simply write value. Write value help us say, hey, write the value. We have these users. I want to write in this file. Very simplified way. Same maybe now you want maybe this is the file exist. Now this is the file exist. I want to read from the file. This is the file that's have a lots of user. I want to read from you. Okay. So how can I do? So similarly, same function. You can say, hey, so here again for reading again, so reading again read value. Here write value for writing JSON. Now I want to read user list from the file. This is the file. The file contains the list of user. I can say read value. Question is that they have a list of values. So here you can mention I want the list of user. So here we have to not pass this parameter mapper type factory and construct collection type, because here we want to collection type is the list. Sometime we want to set, sometime want to map. Okay, and sometime I want to everything. So here say, hey mapper, I want to tell this is a collection type list, and what kind of a list of users. They can say mention user. So here you can get the list of users. So notice here you can get the list of users. You want to maybe set of users. So here you can say I want to set. Set. Here you can mention set. So different data type you can mention here, and you can get the set. You can get the sets. Yeah, list no sets. Okay. Sets of users. Okay. So the API is the same. Read value. So notice here, same read value we can use for the read one users. Same we can use the read value for your multiples groups of value. But here you mention, hey, I want to this list of user. You can mention list and user class. You can say set and user. You have to specify, tell the read value, hey, I want you can read this file and convert me the list of users or set of users, whatever you want. So same read value method is okay. Sometimes you want to say, hey, whatever the list of user we have, I want so we have a list of users. We have a list of users. Now I don't want to write in the file. I want to just string representation. Again, same value, write value as a string and here path. Notice the same write value used for the one object, same write value as a string used for the list of value. And even you can get the list of string. Notice this is the string representation of the list of JSON. So here you can say whenever you are going to convert Java object to the file or string representation. In the file we have to write the file, or you want to no write value as a string, they return the string representation of string. Sometime you want this again formatted. Notice the output is a simple string, but I want to formatted string. Simply again we have to just apply the syntax like a formatted string. Okay, the before write value as a string you will mention the pretty printer. Now you can get the very formatted JSON for. Notice this is the formatted JSON we can pass. So whenever you want to format it, you can just before applying this write value as a string, mention the printer, which kind of a printer you want formatted. If you're not mentioning, by default they return the string representation. But the method is the write value as a string is sufficient. Pass the Java object, they return the string representation of your JSON. One sometime you want again reverse. Now you have received strings. Okay, you have to string this user. Generally, whenever you are calling in third-party API, you receive the string representation of JSON. Now this is the string representation of JSON. Now you want to convert in the Java. Same read value. You can mention this is the string representation. I want to convert the list of users. Mention the list of users, and you are getting. So whatever the operations you did for the no, this is the your list of your users from this string representation. So here whenever you have a you have a uh, collections of JSON in a string format, and then this you can apply here. Read value mention they are returning the list of users in a Java object. So the read value is work for your single list. If list, then you can mention here the types of value which you want. Okay, so that is the kind of operation we can do. But sometime whenever you receive string JSON, okay, uh, we are you receive like you receive one file, JSON file, and a file have a lots of JSON data. Okay, and that you read generally in the form of your string. This is the string representation. Okay. Now you want to going to convert to the list of your users, and here you have to always specify the type list of this, list of this. But sometime can I make a generic something? I don't always specify here something always. So for that, there is a concept of the generic. So Jackson library support the generic. Don't you know what this JSON kind of object they have. I don't like that. If you don't know exact details of this value, then you can go with a generic. Generic, this means Jackson library itself identify what the possible Java object would be and check your in a Java project that's available the directory. If they check user exists, they can automatically figure out. Means ki automatically figure out the corresponding Java object from your repository and convert them. That is known as a generic or dynamic type reference, you can say. So for that, this is like whenever we have some complex JSON, you want to convert the generic Java object, then we are going to use another very fancy concept known as a, let's import them, type references. That means now notice I am going to, this is the same string. This is same string. We have a list of users, that is the JSON string representation. Now I'm not going to specify this is the list or user license read value. Same read value. Here say type references. That means we are telling the JSON library, hey JSON, can you figure out what the possible object would be? Maybe list, maybe user, and just give me the generic where no Java 11 ever concept of where. And now we read the Java object. and type is automatically infer. So here you cannot specify the list or you not specify the set, you know, not specify anything. By default, let them Jackson library read value is a library is responsible to figure out what are the suitable type references and they can place. So don't worry about everything is taken care by them. Now notice I'm not passing any here user, I'm not passing anything, but now our type inferences just passing the string representation of JSON and say type references. You figure out Jackson library figure out what the kind of a object they can convert and give you. If you run, notice they generic object they can convert it the complete the object. Okay, they are converted the read by. And now you can want to the different whatever the operations. So sometime you want as a type inferences automatically a dynamic you can say typing identification. So these kind of you can say operations you can do maybe one object to the JSON to the Java object, a string to the Java object, or maybe collections of users, whatever you have, you can do. Okay. So last part remaining about the annotation. So what do you mean by annotation here? Whenever you are working at JSON, so notice here whatever the our notice whatever the Java field here name, roll number, and skills defined. The same you can notice in this here key name, roll number. The sometime you want to control maybe JSON have some different key, Java have a different key value. So how those control flow manage? So those this annotation help us. Sometime you want to property label, sometime you want to this value should be here. So let's talk one by this. So annotation help us you control how Java object serialize to the JSON and deserialize to the JSON. Again, serialize means Java object converted to the JSON. Deserialize means JSON object converted to the. So be clear. We have a Java object. Okay, and now whenever you are converting to the JSON, this is known as a serialization. What is known as a serialization? Again, you converting JSON to the Java object is the deserialization. So sometime I'll going to talk maybe in the separate video what is serialization and deserialization. Surely I'm going to talk serialization and deserialization. But here understand whenever you have a Java object you want to convert to the string, this process known as a serialization. Whenever your JSON object and you want to convert to the Java object, it is only a deserialization. Okay, so whenever you are converting, notice here JSON is the key value, key value, key value, key value. And here also Java have a class or user have a field or key, field have a key. So this key and this key. Whenever you are converting this JSON, what the key would be? Or if Java object you are converting to the string, let's give a field 1, field 2, field 3, field, all field you want, maybe 2 field don't want, they want to ignore something. So you want to control which Java field can be go to the JSON, which Java field you don't want, what the key name would be. So these kind of control annotation help us. So let's talk one by one. Let's talk JSON property. Whenever you mention JSON property, that means you are trying to map JSON property with the Java field. Okay, so understand whenever you are defining any Java object, like in our case, you can define the user class, right? User class. User have a name, user have a role, user have a skill. This is the field. The field. Whenever they are going to the map JSON, JSON is the concept of a key value, key and value. key value, key value, but here not a key value. Whenever this is a Java object, and here after that you can create the instance of object. Here name mention name, uh, a Arvind, role, and skills. So this object, actual object, going to map to the here key, and this is the value, key and value, key and value. So this is the, you can say, format, and this is the actual instance. So always a state of an object are converted to the JSON. JSON. And while controlling multiple of permutation combination, as a Java programmer or JSON developer, you can do them. So first, let's you have a like a Java object simply. Let's one more class we can create. JSON annotation. JSON annotation. Okay. Okay. So what? Let us let's see. We have one simply this Java object. Let's we have a Java object. Okay. Let's import this. Okay. So now we have a Java object. Okay. And now you want to convert to the JSON. Okay. Just that. Okay. Just let's say import, and now we have to create one users equal to users, and set some value. Okay. Okay, so now we have a here in a Java object we have a name and roll number. Now you can go into the say hey, project section. Okay. And if you run, okay, so notice they have a, let's do the formatted part, creative formatted. Okay, that's so notice here the key name is a full name, job title. So here we can, if you are not adding this annotation, if you are not added this annotation, so by default this key name and roles go to the form of JSON. So notice, okay, let's add one. Okay, so notice here you can say job roles, you can mention this one. So if whatever the property you mention, that would be the part, and name would be the change. Okay, you want to change that. So here I'm trying to say so this name would be the full name, then you can mention full name. This name would be the role, then you can mention role. So sometimes JSON property mention it would be. So here notice I don't want to, the name is not a part of JSON. Okay, so here you can say mention something, let's name also, so you can say name here. So JSON property tell us, hey, it would be the Java any field any name where you can name this is a JSON property. That means this name JSON property go into the JSON while convert. Maybe specifically let's we have any field or any methods, you can do it. Okay, the JSON property help us to ensure that whenever Java object going to convert JSON, at that time what the attributes are going to the part of the JSON, right? And sometime maybe you want to maybe let's like here. So maybe like here. So let us you say JSON ignore. So by default, this user whenever you are going to say users And whenever you convert this, so notice what happened. What is happening? JSON property. User is not a property to discover the fields. Hmm. JSON property. That means here the objective that should ignore. Why they are not JSON property? So notice this is JSON property. Here's a JSON ignore. So if you are mentioning here, that means this is the name is the part. I don't want the password field would go in the part of JSON. Okay, so that scenario you can say JSON ignore. JSON ignore, that means they are saying, hey, now this field, whenever going to connect to the JSON at that time, ignore them. Maybe ignore this field, maybe ignore a multiple. Let's say we have a multiple fields. Then you can say instead of JSON ignore, you can say, hey, JSON ignore properties. I mean, let's give like this class. Okay. Okay. Ignore properties. So what ignore properties tell us ignore. So let's this is a two field that would be two are ignored. The two fields are going to ignore. Okay, and others are considered. So ignore properties like these two fields are not the part of your you can say library. Okay, sorry. Okay, and run it. Ignore properties. What the users names properties. So these two fields should be the username. So this is the username, and this would be going to the skip. Okay, so I'm trying to say here annotation help us to maybe skip maybe here in the case of username and password. Surely I don't want password go to the here or name go to the here right now. So in this case, if you want to ignore only one property, you can just say hey ignore and the specific property password ignore, but you want to know no I want to ignore multiple, so instead of ignore properties and mention property one property two whatever the field, that is not become your part of the JSON, right? And similarly sometime you want to hey the particular JSON maybe include something right now in. So what happened sometime you want to this users whenever user have some email, if something null then don't include, if only value then includes. So the other scenario where you can run it. Okay, so here notice if object have a some kind of annotation, then you can mention here right now. Let's say here email as well as user.email, and email have a some value. Let's like AJ Gmail. Okay. So notice both are come here. But I want if anything null. Let's key I not said I not said name. So name should be yeah. What happened if I not ignore? Let's key I am not mentioned here. And if run again, so notice here email also go null. So here email go null, but I don't want ki something smell go hai. No value means no key should be. So here you can just say hey ignore JSON non-null. So if any field have a not null value, that is not the part of your JSON. So notice not the part of JSON. If maybe not available name that's not available. So in this case, you have to mention, okay, like here. Okay, already done. So here already we cover. Okay. So one more things like JSON ignore property, include property, and sometime you have in our class maybe super class and sub two classes, and then you want annotation something, then you can use the type and subtype. So let us here kind of a example. So let's just remove everything, just import every classes, import. So here the scenario that we have one user class. Here one user class. User class is your abstract class, and they have a two subclasses. Two subclass. One is the admin class, another is the your customer class. Okay, so here we have one abstract class users, one have a admin class, and so this is the kind of once we have a super class and subclass hierarchy relationship. How you tell the JSON? Okay, so for that, if this is abstract class we mention, this is the type annotation, and here you mention this is the two subclasses. This is the admin, this is the customer. Or the which parameter, you can say this is the type parameter. So here in this property set type basis, you can say this is the type. Type basis, you can say if this is the customer or this is the admin. So in this scenario, let's you can create the admin and hide, and let's you pass this admin, okay? And you run. So notice they have said type admin hide. Maybe you can create customer class, customer, and you can say customer. Here these are different type admin than this class type admin this one. So sometime you want to make a inheritance relationship between the classes, then you can mention this type info. This is you can say this is abstract class or interface or super classes. This is the type. You just specify the users name something and what the types, and here say what the subtype. Subtype you have admin and this. These are two class mentioned. It's the admin type, customer type. This scenario. So lots of annotations. Surely you cannot cover everything, but what the annotation we cover? JSON property we mention. These are the property, and JSON ignore. I want so here we can discuss here like this scenario. You can mention like user property, and previously it's not working due to the here must be mentioned public private something right now. So then you can mention the property name. So just JSON property is the just mapping between the Java field name to a method to the JSON value, and ignore just mention the particular password a specific field I don't want to the part of JSON, then you can say JSON ignore. And similarly, if a multiple property, so instead of saying JSON property, you mention the top level JSON properties, column password and secret. Password secret not go to the JSON. Okay, and sometime a particular object, maybe user object have a 10 field. Maybe some fields are null. So if you want really null would be the part of our JSON or not. So you can not null. Here you have multiple options. You have maybe not null or empty or default not null. So these are the options available. Let us if I check here. So let me just remove and here. So we have some other options as well as let's remove here users. You mention here must be public. Okay, this is the user. Okay, so notice this here. So this is the null that means, and then here we have a couple of options you can also. Maybe you want to dot always not custom. Notice null also is a part of. Okay, maybe some empty, some empty, non-empty, non-offset. So lots of options we have. Not null, then you can say not null, then it's not allowed to the null. Okay. So just you can just click here and if these are the yeah. So we have a couple of options. We have maybe always, not null, absent, empty, default, custom, and use default. So anyone you can select according to that. So whatever the field you want to include, whatever the field you don't want to include, you want to include null, non-null, empty. So let's mention here like so here yes, here you can say like here is space empty, and if you run, still they are going to the empty value. So really in response you want to empty value, so you can say maybe no, so you can say non-empty. So even the particular empty or not empty, then you can ignore it. Okay, so you can decide whenever a Java object going to the convert in a string. So what the field in null value, blank value, empty value, allow or not allow. Everything you can control using this JSON annotation. Okay, this is the for just inheritance. If you your Java object is the inheritance of polymorphism types, then Jackson support your superclass, subclass, and the hierarchy everything. So these are the some points which we cover. So let's JSON have some key property like notice the library which we are very simple, write value, read value. These are the map functions we are read value as a string. These are the three mostly use the library. Very simple library you can say. You can just create the Java object mapper. You can create the new object mapper and just say, hey, write value as a string, read value as a string, and they are very fast and efficient as well as. And they support like annotation means you can customize our JSON mapping. And even this is a very good part. This Jackson library is well suited work for all the web framework or web services with request response like a Spring Boot or any application. And even the like if your application have some class level hierarchy abstraction, very easily complex data structure can easily you can map to this JSON format. So you can say these are the very concise way the JSON library can say help us to do. So whatever the Java object you have, whatever the Java object you have, object we have, you can very easily convert into the JSON, JSON format, right? JSON format. Okay, maybe a list of a Java object. And similarly, just you can say you can just create the object mapper dot write as a value, write value, you convert. Again, we have a read value from the JSON. You can convert the Java object. And lots of control annotation we learn like annotation control, what the field attribute, null, not null, everything you can write. So in short, you can say very simplified library Jackson, very powerful library. Nowadays your application always work in the microservice environment, exchanging data in the format of JSON. So JSON reading, writing, controlling is very complex task for engineer. But with the help of the Jackson library, we as any developer very concisely, very fast and simple, we just create the object neighbor class that write value, read value. These two methods solve our every problems. Okay, and some setup annotation, JSON property, JSON include, JSON ignore, JSON type, subtype. These are the annotation. Lots of annotation they have. You just go check out the complete JSON library. But that's annotation help us to trick the request and response of the JSON would be. What you want to include, what you don't want to, some secret information, password, something you want to hide in the response whenever you're converting the Java to string. Okay, so terminology you can convert object to Java object to the JSON known as a serialization, JSON to the Java object known as a deserialization, and these both serialization and deserialization are very simply, easily handled by the Jackson library. So that is the core concept about the your Jackson library. Good part, these are the open source library. You can just add the dependency, Jackson dependency in a project, and just create the object mapper class, and just the dot read value, pass the string, write value, pass the Java object, and they can convert. And lots of other the situation annotation help us to control the JSON and the Java field mapping. Okay, so that is the point for the day. Today I had uh, just do practice, and that's a very simple library, very useful library, even open source. Many in my project, also in the live project, and along many places we are using this library. So hope you can also try to use this XM library. Simple, fast, and most widely used. And nowadays, all the services which are in the industries are using the JSON data format to exchanging messages between the services. Hope this information is little bit helpful for you. Thank you.